Hello, my name's Scott and welcome back to my Sprinter campervan conversion series. Last week I installed 2 new windows and a roof rack, and this week I'm continuing to put holes in my van to install 3 new fans and hopefully some side flares. Last week I recorded way too much video and that was a nightmare to edit, so let's just get straight into making changes this week. Hey, future editor Scott here. I'm just popping in here because past Scott was way too optimistic in that intro, and he didn't know that he was about to get taken out by COVID for a few days and also hit a few water leakage issues that would delay him further. So, because the amount of work that I was able to do was so heavily reduced, I've combined weeks 2 and 3 into a single video. Please enjoy. We had a lot of rain over the weekend and I was worried that this new fan I installed was going to leak. But the fan was fine and this window that I thought was watertight leaked instead. There must be a gap somewhere in the adhesive that I used during installation, and that is allowing a small amount of water to get in, which is over time pooling until it overflows down the bottom here. This has unfortunately leaked all over the floor, and I was not good enough at cleaning up all the metal chips I created while cutting holes in the van, and those metal chips have instantly rusted when being exposed to the water. So unfortunately I've created a bunch of work for myself now, where I have to clean up all this water, clean up all this rust, and do some extra sealing to block the water from getting in the future. I'm not going to film the cleanup of the water and rust as I need to get onto that very quickly, and hopefully the damage isn't too bad and I haven't created too much extra work for myself. that's the end of weeks 2 and 3. Unfortunately, it started raining, so it's going to be a bit difficult to capture a recap of what I did in these 2 weeks. And from a mixture of getting taken out by COVID for a few days and finding some leaks in the windows I installed in week 1, which I thought were watertight but actually weren't, these 2 weeks were kind of a mess, but at least I got 2 fans installed in the roof during this time. Anyway, let's go show you a recap of what I did during these 2 weeks. As I said, I got 2 fans installed, one up here in the front and one up here in the rear. These went in without too much difficulty, although I did have some troubles. Namely, for the first fan, I didn't pre-drill the holes, and trying to screw through the butyl tape without pre-drilled holes was a nightmare and caused me a lot of issues. They went in eventually, but it took a lot longer than it should have. Zooming in on the fan, it doesn't look the prettiest, but it doesn't need to, because most of this will be covered by flanges or the ceiling. As far as I can tell, these 2 fans are watertight, but as I found with the window, which I thought were watertight as well, we won't know until I get them out into the rain for extended periods of time. If the rain clears up before the end of the day, I'll try and capture some footage of the outside of the fan to show the external view of the fans. These fans are pretty simple in controls, but I haven't wired them up yet. I can manually open them with this knob here, but I cannot turn the fan on until they have power. As you would have seen in the middle of the video, this window that I installed in week 1 had a leak. Water was coming up through the bottom where there must not have been full adhesion and there must have been a gap in there. So I went around the outside with extra sealant and it is now hopefully watertight. I still have to go around the interior of the window with extra sealant just to be extra sure, but that is a job for next week. And here is a view from the outside of the sealant I put into the window to try and make it watertight again. It might be a bit difficult to see with the rain, but hopefully it gives you an idea of what I had to do to try and make the things watertight again. Also, I thought that only one window wasn't watertight, as that was the only one that I saw that was leaking. But when the rain started again today, I noticed that this other window was also leaking slightly as well. So I am 2 for 2 for leaky windows. I quickly put up a tarp just to make sure that no more leaking gets in. And you can't see it now, but there was a small leak coming through here and going down into this body cavity, which I have taken off and will need to seal up. So that is another job for next week. Probably the first thing I will do next week is sealing this other window, making sure that they are both watertight. I am just going to go absolutely nuts with the sealant and make sure without a shadow of a doubt that they are totally sealed and no water will get in. I guess luckily it happened now. I mean, it would be best if it never happened, but if it had to happen, it was good that it happened now before I had put up a bunch of walls and other things that could get damaged by the water. As it goes, not a lot of damage was done. I didn't do a very good job of cleaning up all the metal shavings that happened as I was cutting holes in the van. So unfortunately that water hit exposed metal in those shavings and has caused some rust that I will need to make sure I clean up. And if it has started to actually rust the van itself, then I'm going to need to sand that back and then properly seal it and waterproof it again. So yeah, a bit of a mess of a week. That extra leaking and rusting is going to cause me a bunch of extra work that I'm going to have to do now to make sure it's cleaned up and safe going forward. But it has happened now, so all we can do is clean up our mistakes, learn from them, and move forward. So next week has an absolutely terrible forecast with rain forecasted for most of the week. That's going to hamper my plans for what I wanted to do for the rest of the outside of the van, which we can't do while it's raining, and instead we'll have to focus on doing things on the inside of the van. Obviously, there is that extra sealing I have to do, as well as the rust cleanup, and potentially I'll be getting the new seats installed if the timing lines up with my installer. Otherwise, I'll probably start work on the floor. So, see you all next week then.